Hi, my name's Nicola. I am an energy expert. I've been immersing myself in the language of energy for the past 10 years. And I wanted to make this live because a while ago I made a couple of videos about healthy sleep. And I really wanted to explore that further through the language of energy. And as I said, my name's Nicola. I'm an energy expert. I've been exploring the language of energy for the past 10 years. And what I want to share with you today are a few specific things about creating healthy sleep. And this is something really close to my heart because I had crap sleep for like 10 years. So what I'm going to chat to you about today, bearing in mind, this is looking at yourself through the language of energy. This is the key to understanding yourself. So how can we understand more about sleep in relation to energy? Well, firstly, I'm going to chat about the circadian rhythm. That's your body clock. I think everyone is aware they have a body clock that moderates and regulates your biological processes. And secondly, I want to talk about your energy clock. How does that impact your healthy sleep? Then we're going to go into some aspects that might be interfering with a healthy sleep rhythm. And even if we are feeling like we have pretty good sleep, there are still some things to be mindful of to make sure that that continues. And then I'm going to chat about things like stress, how that relates to your energy, and how that can interfere with this energy clock. So before we dive into that, firstly, I want to say that I have a free video series. It's just a mini video series called Focus and Calm. And this is going to be sharing 3 simple and powerful tools that are there to support your healthy sleep. So if you're interested in that, you can sign up on my website, which is there. It's nicola.energy. It's not .com or .co.uk, it's .energy. And you can get that there. And if you sign up for that free video series, I'm also running on the 28th of March a guided energy clearing and workshop that's going to really look at addressing any aspects that might be in the way of healthy sleep. We're going to be looking at the consciousness of energy and really supporting a really deep, nourishing process, and that's like a 2-hour workshop. So again, if you sign up on my website, I will be sending details out of that. So let's begin with the circadian rhythm. And I was super inspired a couple of years ago, well actually it's 2017 now, we're in 2021, by a Nobel Prize announcement. And I really want you to bear with me here because this absolutely relates to you creating healthy sleep. So these 3 guys have won the Nobel Prize for Medicine, and it was all about the circadian rhythm. And I was just fascinated by this because it was looking at the body chemistry, your gene expression, and the biological processes that keep your body clock running in a healthy way in that 24-hour cycle. So I want us to get a brief understanding of that first. Bear with me, it really will make sense and it will really open your eyes as to why learning the language of energy is so important. But first, we've got to look at the biology and the body chemistry. So I've got their press release back from 2017, and I just want to read a few little snippets from that to set the scene before we move into the energy aspects of this. And here it says, for many years, we have known that living organisms, including humans, have an internal biological clock that helps them anticipate and adapt to the regular rhythm of the day. But how does this clock actually work? And what happens when it goes wrong? What happens when we don't have good sleep? And then a bit further down it says, with exquisite precision, and I want you to recognise that they're talking about you. Your processes in your body have exquisite precision. So give yourself a pat on the back for that. You are a divinely orchestrated, complex energy being and biological, bioenergetic individual. So with exquisite precision, our inner clock adapts our physiology to the dramatically different phases of the day. Your clock regulates critical functions, this is important, such as behavior, hormone levels, sleep, body temperature, and metabolism. So the smooth functioning of this also relates to your metabolism, not just sleep, also your hormones. They massively affect your emotional well-being. And it says here, our well-being is affected when there's a temporary mismatch between our external environment and our internal biological clock. You may know that when you travel across time zones, jet lag, that definitely impacts us. So why does that impact us? And of course, there are also indications that chronic misalignment between our lifestyle, and I'm going to talk about the energetics of that in a minute, actually interrupt this rhythm. They interrupt this inner timekeeper that's associated with increased risk for a whole host of diseases. So it is vitally important for us to first of all understand what is at play here with this clock, with your body clock, with your energy clock, and how to keep that ticking along with exquisite precision. Just to give you a little bit more detail about what's happening with the circadian rhythm, because this was the thing that made me really just like ding, 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 the bell in my head. So you might be aware that spending too much time on screens has an aspect of blue light coming off from a phone, a TV screen, that interrupts healthy sleep cycles. And that's because it interferes with the production of a sleep hormone called melatonin. And so when we rise at the beginning of the day, that direct bright sunlight has an aspect of blue light that suppresses the production of melatonin. And then that sunset energy at the end of the day, that is, and you know, we used to live by candlelight. We weren't exposed to the level of blue light that we are now in our modern day. So we know the quality and the distinction of the type of lights that we are exposing ourselves to has a massive impact on our well-being. So you might think, oh, does that mean that it is the light that is causing this cascade of genetic feedback and biological processes in my body? Well, that's what you might think, but actually, researchers have studied plants that had leaves that opened towards the sun during the daytime and closed at dusk, but they wondered what would happen if the plant was placed in constant darkness. So would the same thing happen? Would it open during the day, independent of what you might think the trigger of light is? And they actually found that these leaves continued to follow their daily oscillation despite the fact they were in darkness. And you might be thinking, Nicola, why do you even need to tell me this? How does this relate to me? And I'm totally going to get to that. So that's happening for plants. But what about humans? Well, other researchers actually found that not only plants, but also animals and humans have a biological clock that helps prepare your physiology for the fluctuations of the day. And that can be still going on even if you were put in darkness. And of course, light does have a massive impact on your body clock, but there's something else at play here, and that's in connection to energy, and that's what I'm going to get to in a minute. So you have this self-regulating clockwork mechanism. You have this gene expression, this cascade of hormones that's happening throughout a 24-hour cycle, different genes setting off a cascade of responses in your body. And it's super complex. A large proportion of your genes are actually regulated by this biological clock, and therefore you have a really carefully calibrated circadian rhythm. So what does that mean in terms of the experience of your day from a physiological perspective? So I'm going to talk about that, and then I'm going to get onto the energy aspect. When we look at your body clock and what's going on a 24-hour cycle, for example, first thing in the morning, you have your best coordination. you have your fastest reaction times. Then coming down, that's after midday, you have your best coordination. So actually, think about, you've got your midday. The best coordination you have is actually towards the afternoon. Your fastest reaction times are towards the afternoon. Then when you drop to around 6 o'clock, you have your highest body temperature. Then going into the evening, your highest blood pressure. And then towards sleep time, you start secreting melatonin, the sleep hormone. So coming from midday, going down to midnight, you then get into deep sleep. You're then coming into your lowest body temperature. Then at about 6 o'clock in the morning, you actually start to release cortisol, which if it is out of balance, that's known as a stress hormone, but it is really beneficial as part of your circadian rhythm. Then you have the fastest increase in blood pressure. And then first thing in the morning, you have high alertness. So that all corresponds to the way our lifestyle ideally is matching those responses within our body. But how does that relate to energy? Well, we are on a planet that is in a direct relationship with the moon. We have an electromagnetic interaction and relationship with that aspect, the rotation of the earth, our 24-hour day, and the sun as well. So those influences on our body have an electromagnetic effect on our energy. And that is showing up in what the ancient Chinese call the energy clock. It's called the energy flow wheel. It's actually an energy clock that tracks high tides of energy and low tides of energy in different processes in our body, like liver function, like our fight, flight, or freeze response. So not only do we have our body clock and circadian rhythm, we also have our energy clock. And this is the key to understanding healthy sleep. Because if you have over-energized a part of your energy circuit, these run as highways of energies in your body, meridians, if you have over-energized one of these highways as the energy is flowing around peak tide, low tide, around this 24-hour energy clock, that is going to really interrupt the biochemical processes of your circadian rhythm and also your ability to have healthy sleep. And oh my God, do I know about that. So think about your energy clock. High tide of energy running through different aspects of your meridians, highways of energy in your body, related to different organs. So a question that I get asked an awful lot is, yeah, I fall asleep really easily and then I just wake up at a certain time in the night. That is a classic sign that a highway of energy in your body, that is, most of them are associated to a specific organ, is actually over-energized. Something is giving you an excess of energy that is causing you to wake up or be overstimulated. And some of the organs and meridians that are classic for us to look into, that are happening during when we should be at sleep, for example, between 1 and 3 in the morning, over energy in liver. So is there anything going on in your life that is causing excess energy to be passing through the meridian and the organ of your liver? And don't forget, that could obviously be something lifestyle. We all are pretty aware that drinking alcohol or eating an unhealthy diet, that again is a biochemical stress on an organ in your body that is doing its very best. The ancient Chinese called the liver the seat of the soul. Let's honor that and keep it trucking along nicely. I certainly didn't for a long time in my life, and I paid the price, but it's really easy to regenerate and balance this energy when you know how. That is why learning the language of energy is the key to give you a way to understand why things aren't in balance in your life from an energetic perspective. So of course, we look at lifestyle. We look at the biochemical aspects that are influencing your liver, for example. But what about emotions? Every organ of your body has a specific vibration. Everything is energy. Energy is all there is, and that is a fact of physics. And so I think these researchers who've looked at the circadian rhythm and understood this cascade of biological responses, and we know that, plants don't actually need to have light. Humans do have a really big need for light, but there is something else at play here that is actually holding this circadian rhythm in place, and that is energy. That is the field, the change in the electromagnetic quality of which we experience by being in different time zones, different places on Earth, and different times of the day. So it's like, let's pop out to the bigger picture. It is the energy field, and therefore influencing our own energy gives us the power over our circadian rhythm. So I mentioned liver. That's a classic one, because let's be really honest and do some self-inquiry. For me, I know, having worked on myself deeply and in a dedicated way, that it seemed fine on the surface, but underneath, I think I was holding in a lot of self-directed frustration and anger. You're not good enough. Frustrated with different aspects of my life, even though I never came across in that way. It was all stuffed down. And so I would say, is there anything in your life that needs to be addressed? Firstly, externally, lifestyle, do all the things, stop looking at your electronic devices after 9 o'clock or 8:30. What can you do to get out of your mind, your thoughts? What can you do to get into your body? But of course, giving up something like caffeine, is that impacting your circadian rhythm in a negative way? But it's an emotional aspect that for me was the biggest thing that I worked on, that brought me back to balance and allowed me to use energy techniques to release stress from my nervous system. There are some really simple and profound protocols that I can share with you, these neurovascular points that release stress from your nervous system. And so that is a foundation for healthy sleep. Are we able to take an honest look at ourselves and do some deep inner work? And that is not necessarily comfortable, but it is the only way to come to a peace inside of ourselves that is not dependent on any external circumstances. So energy medicine can help you do that. Energy medicine looks at you as a field of vibration of energy. Energy holds information. Knowing how to release, process emotional energy from different parts of your energy clock. I mentioned liver as just one aspect. That's between 1 and 3 in the morning. If you wake up at that time, that's a really good clue that working on your liver energy would be highly beneficial. We've also got another aspect of energy, not related to an organ, but part of your 24-hour energy clock, that's related to your fight, flight, or freeze response. And this was so classic for me. I would get kind of sleepy, and then just as I felt like I would be going to bed around about 10 or 11 o'clock, which is the high tide for this particular energy mechanism within your body, this would rev up. And it's like, I feel wired. What is going on? And it's because there was a slightly misaligned response in my system that had been building up for my entire life for various different reasons, that was creating this over-energized, it's not safe actually, deep in my subconscious, not consciously at all. Of course, in this moment I am safe. It's not about that. It's about your subconscious energy operating at its most sophisticated level when it feels safe. And it is all about that with regards to your energy. So that is some information about how to have healthy sleep from the perspective of what is the circadian rhythm, what is your energy clock, and how can you use some tools to interact with that. I have a free video series on my website which you can sign up and get access to called Focus and Calm, and one of those 3 moves is the neurovascular points. They are so profound. They process emotional energy deep from your nervous system, and that can be a really good way to start to get a relationship with your energy and start to understand how to release energy from a specific part of your energy clock to bring flow and balance. If things get stuck, just like cars on the motorway, you end up with a bit of a traffic jam. And so balance is all about flow. So thank you so much for watching, and I would love to hear any of your questions. Do you have any specific issues about sleep? Drop in the comments below, and I will be making some more videos talking about the energy of healthy sleep, as it was definitely a thing that's, well, it's very close to my heart. So thank you, and I will see you soon. Bye. How do I actually turn this off?